Hi, I'm Dan Schmitt. I do a weekly television show called Team Chicago Challenge. We're here at Rich's Yamaha in Lockport, Illinois for their open house. But as long as I'm here, I'm going to point out something. In 1998 and 1999, the Art of the Motorcycle exhibit was at the Field Museum. I was invited to get involved with that production. We produced a video for that event. They also let me come in. They didn't allow any photos, but they did allow me to come in and video my 10 best, the 10 bikes that I thought were the greatest bikes in the Art of the Motorcycle exhibit. So over the next 20 minutes or so, 12, 14, 16 minutes, I'm going to show you my selection of the 10 best, which really turned out to be my 12 best from the Art of the Motorcycle exhibit. And we're going to look at the video that I was involved with producing for the Field Museum back for that event. So it's a great show. It's some great historic stuff. The video, these great motorcycles at the Art of the Motorcycle exhibit. And remember my website, teamchicago.tv. That's right, teamchicago.tv. Rich's Yamaha in Lockport, Illinois is the oldest sponsor of the TV show Team Chicago Challenge. It's always a pleasure coming to Rich's, and I will be back on May 20th for a Yamaha ride new Yamahas. At the Art of the Motorcycle exhibit, we're going to start out this clip by showing you my first 6 favorite motorcycles. We're starting out with this Michaux-Perreaux steam-powered 1868 steam-powered, basically a bicycle, and I'm so happy that someone has found the earlier motorcycle, because a motorcycle is a cycle that is driven by an engine, and this one is propelled by a steam engine. And I was fascinated how they got this thing to work with that boiler under the seat. Not this Daimler test bed for a gasoline engine, but the first motor-driven or engine-driven two-wheel cycle is this Michaux-Perreaux, made in France. And how's this for a V8? This is Curtis's V8 motorcycle. Curtis, who is an airplane designer and builder, put this motorcycle together. Quite impressive. Look at this V8 engine, air-cooled. I was really impressed by this piece. This is a beautiful motorcycle. In 1907, the new land speed record of 136 miles per hour. At Ormond Beach, right up the road from Daytona Beach. And the next bike is the Cyclone Board Track racer, using a modified Harley-Davidson engine. First built in 1914 and ran through the teens and into the 20s, when board track racing was it. The yellow speed demon, this absolutely beautiful Cyclone. And I've seen one of these out at Davenport, and it's really quite a sight to see. What a beautiful example of a board track racer from the heydays in the teens and the 20s. And here's a picture of a board track race. Next is the Brough Superior, made in England, a classic piece using a JAP 1000cc twin engine, and one of the most notorious owners of the Brough Superior was Lawrence of Arabia, and he died on a motorcycle like this. And now the Moto Guzzi single cylinder, there's a design that's lasted 50 years. It was designed in the 20s using an overhead cam, 500cc. The only thing the description calls it a bacon slicer, but I know better than that. It is the Salami Slicer. As you look at this external flywheel, and I got to ride one of these down by Kirstein's, a newer version, but using the same engine. And it was a great motorcycle to ride. And this is a beautiful piece in the art of the motorcycle exhibit at the Field Museum. And now another product out of France, the Dollar, because he wanted to sound American, this V4, and a beautiful motorcycle it was. Nicely designed, 4-cylinder engine. Beautiful paint job. 4 exhaust pipes. A great example of motorcycles built in the 30s. And I never even knew a bike like this existed. And now we're going to look at the video clip that we produced for the Art of the Motorcycle exhibit at the Field Museum. Check it out. It's a pretty great video clip about motorcycling.
Why do I love them?
Strictly because it's the only way I can really express my emotions for performance machines.
It's truly a piece of art. Functional art, yes.
These are not just motorcycles. They're high maintenance, but they're pieces of art.
You mix and match your pieces.
Just a little bit of additions that make it your own, a little bit different than everybody else's.
You take off pieces, you chrome out pieces.
There's no chrome. I'm not into chrome. I could live without chrome.
They would buy a scooter and they'd customize it with everything and anything they could find. And if there was room to put something on it, then they put it on.
If you look at the engine, you can see the love that was put into crafting every single component.
The bike weighs 3,280 pounds. It's 17 feet in length. And the builder who made it, his name is Wild Bill Gelbke.
I would build models, I would draw them. I would build models out of cardboard, out of wood, and I still do.
My next door neighbor and I would build mini bikes from Stingray bicycles. We'd chop them down and re-weld them, put a Briggs & Stratton motor on there, and just ride around the block and the police would chase us.
Power Glide, automatic transmission with reverse. It's got a truck differential off of a Chevy. Just overkill on everything.
That
was one of the things I upgraded.
No single thing, because it's a composite of all these wonderful things.
I like the frame. I like this big piece here. It looks very powerful. It makes the bike look streamlined.
Disc brake on the front off of a Corvette. It's a Chevy called the Iron Duke engine that was used in the old Chevy 2.
She fixed her bike one morning with a twig off a tree and made an electrical connection so she could last another 300 miles till the wood burned out.
The way it works is what makes it beautiful.
With the hydraulics built into the bike, Bill could change a tire, front or rear, because we've got hydraulics back there. Bill would just head off that way. 3 days later, we'd be back at work, having gone to Oklahoma for no other reason than to be on the road.
Boy, it's been really exciting. It's really scary, too.
When you're doing three-digit speeds, it comes into its own, and you really feel very comfortable up there.
I feel so comfortable, and still I'm 7 months pregnant now, and I still feel great on this bike, so that makes me feel good.
I like to ride to the edge of the road to balance exhilaration and fear.
For me personally, it's the sound. I just like the way the motorcycle sounds. I like the way it performs.
And it's the feeling of freedom. It's the wind in your hair, the bugs in your teeth. And probably the best rides for me is through the farmlands, the smells. Believe I never thought manure could smell so good, but it sure does on a motorcycle. You be quiet.
And the fields aren't like green anymore. They start to look blue and dark, and you see the sage and stuff.
It's exciting. You've got all that power between your legs, loins, what have you. And, you know, you're shifting with one hand, you're braking, you're gearing, everything is you're utilizing on the bike, and it's exciting.
It's very sexual and sensual rolled into one.
Sexy?
Yeah.
It's extremely sexy. I just haven't found out to who other than myself.
You know, I miss my bike when I don't ride. Every day, at least I'm thinking about my bike, and you know, my wife, I don't think she likes that, but that's the way it is. But this one is, it's just very special to me, and it's you know, it's like my baby almost.
And here's me grabbing it exactly the way that it's supposed to be. So it's clear that at this age, I wanted to ride.
Mom used to hate me because I put bolts in my shoes and drag my feet down the street at night and put on a wheelie spark show, so.
I've been riding illegally since the age of 12 years old.
I just turned 65, and my only regret was I didn't start a lot sooner.
You meet a lot of friends that way, and they're all walks of life. They're from mechanics to entrepreneurs. It's everything you can imagine.
I belong also to a Chicago Hawk chapter.
We have breakfast runs every Sunday morning. Different people come to those. We have a poker run every year for charity.
I ride with my dad, and I came here to help the kids.
I'm also president of LAMA, which stands for Latin American Motorcycle Association. It's an organization we've been around for 21 years now.
But also we ride with the local Abate chapter, which is a motorcycle rights organization.
Been a motor maid for 25 years plus. The Motor Maid's an organization that's been in existence, I believe it's 57 years.
This event that's going on here, it brings motorcyclists together to help children who have brain cancer, and I'm now the president of the Pediatric Brain Tumor Foundation in the United States.
I'm with the American Lawman Motorcycle Club. I'm a member of that particular club because I like working with inside the law instead of outside the law.
I think today more people are realizing that it's not the, what do you call, the Hells Angels type out there riding now. I know there's everyday people out there riding motorcycles.
You're going to find lawyers, attorneys, scientists, all sorts of people riding motorcycles. It's just a hobby. Some people like to play golf. We love our motorcycles.
And there were a couple 100,000 people up there from all different socioeconomic statuses, different backgrounds, different cultures, and for one day everybody was kind of one, and the whole thing that revolved around was a motorcycle.
We do long road trips every year where it's like a caravan, and it's like you're on a trip with your family, but everybody's much better behaved.
We have Anglo-Americans, we have Polish people in our club. We have all sorts of people. We have people from Colombia, Ecuador, everywhere. So it's a mixture of cultures in our motorcycle club.
Yeah, I've met dozens of people off the internet that are bikers.
There's so many people that your lives touch riding a motorcycle. There's not enough time on film to mention them all. But to all of you, I love you.
It was just amazing to look in my rearview mirrors and see the hills that we were crossing and just see miles of headlights from the bikes.
The experience of riding is ethereal.
You have such a sense of freedom on a motorcycle. It's the closest thing to flying.
You can't describe when you get on and you hear an engine, you hear it making noise, and when you twist your wrist a little bit, you take off like a rocket.
Racing is the one time you can go as fast as you want. I like going fast on motorcycles. That's why I race motorcycles, and I race at the track.
You're out on a bike, it's kind of like a time machine, you know. The scenery's moving by you really slow, doesn't matter how fast you're going, and everything just kind of slows down.
It's kind of spiritual, actually. When you get out there early in the morning and you're all by yourself and you go by a herd of cows, it's just, I feel closer to the Creator, I really do.
Motorcycling for me has become a channel of self-improvement. For some people it is yoga, others find it through meditation. For me it is two wheels and a twisting highway.
It's very cleansing for me to do these kind of trips, and calming, and you know, I feel really, for me, that's God. Getting out into nature is God.
We have a ceremony that starts out with some scripture readings. Then following that, we go around and he blesses each individual bike and rider for a safe riding season for those that are riding and the bikes that they are riding upon.
If I never rode a bike again, I'd probably be dead in a short while. It would be very tough. I'd have to reconstruct who I am, I think.
For me, motorcycling is more of an activity when I'm involved with others that you do rather than talk about.
We are the participants in life. We're not the folks that sit home on our sofas and watch television all day long, but rather we get out and live life and are participants.
I'm more excited to be a rider than a passenger. I want to be in control of my own destiny.
And it's habit forming. Like I said before, once it gets in your blood, you want to do it all the time.
They ride it for a few minutes, and they say, whoa, I have to have this.
I thought, why haven't I done this yet? And it's the best thing I ever did for myself.
Really, other than having my kid, it's about the best thing I've ever done.
And you just enjoy your ride home, even if there's traffic, you enjoy it.
I'll never sell this bike. This bike will be with me forever.
Hopefully I can continue to ride, you know, for the rest of my life.
It's just fun to ride.
And I love it. I mean, what else can I tell you?
You can't beat it. It's the all-American sport, and it has no boundaries as far as age or gender or religion, and you know, you just have to go for it.
There's really nothing quite like it.
And next is the Triumph Speed Twin 500cc parallel twin. And after this bike, BSA, Matchless, AJS, and Norton began producing parallel twin motorcycles. And this is a beautiful Triumph motorcycle. This design lasted all the way through the 70s. The MV Agusta 500. One of the winningest Grand Prix motorcycles ever built, beginning in 1956, all the way through to Giacomo Agostini, riding his 4-cylinder, 4-stroke. What a beautiful example of Italian craftsmanship. The Triumph Hurricane, quite a unique piece, built in the 70s. Probably one of the first sport bikes with the integrated bodywork, designed by an American. Definitely a beautiful motorcycle, a head turner. There's quite a few of them still riding around on the streets. The Rocket 3, and I own one of these. And somewhere in the future shows, we're going to be putting that thing back together again, rebuilding the engine. And after seeing this in the Art of the Motorcycle exhibit, it's really got my blood flowing to get this bike together, because I got one that's this pretty. The paint is that nice. Using a 3-cylinder BSA engine, the same engine that was used in the Hurricane. As we compare these two bikes side by side, the same engine. One was designed in 69, 68, the other one 73. One more classic and one very neatly styled. The BSA with the Flash Gordon mufflers. Now the Moto Guzzi. It's a great motorcycle. A friend of mine had a V7. A well put together, organized gas tank flowing into the seat, like a modern motorcycle, but using that V-twin transverse. I'll tell you, these bikes performed on the racetrack and on the street. And as we come to the end, the statement of the motorcycle of the 90s is the Britton. Created down under by John Britton. I've seen this race many times at Daytona. It's a beautiful piece. A man's lifelong dream. And there it is at the Art of the Motorcycle exhibit. And that's it, except my 10 best turned out to be 12. As we watch the winding roads of the Field Museum at the Art of the Motorcycle exhibit. It heads off to Europe, and I'm happy I was part of this.
I had the opportunity to work with some great people, and I got to work around all these motorcycles, all these pieces of art at the Field Museum, the Art of the Motorcycle exhibit. For more information on the Field Museum, for the fieldmuseum.org. The Art of the Motorcycle, Guggenheim.org. Don't forget, TeamChicago.tv, WalkWithDan.com.